prophet. I'm not even a pastor. I'm not none of that. This is just this locker room talk. I'm on YouTube talking like it's just you and me. It's just I'm literally talking to you as if you just my homeboy or my homegirl and you called me up, said, Ty, what's going on? That's all it is. You can take it, you can leave it. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, life goes on. You got to pay your bills. You got to do that. But you need to focus on Christ. That is the most important part. And people say that, and I'm like, but how are we going to focus on Christ? And all this is happening around. So I've been meaning to make an AI 2027 video for about 3 months now, but I never really, I don't know, I guess I wanted to feel called on it in a sense. I don't really like talking like that, but really I wanted to make sure that when I put my opinion out there, that I was happy with it, not necessarily for whatever anybody else wanted to do or say or could do or whatever. But I wanted to make sure that like, and I could be wrong about all of this, but I think the situation that we're in is so dire and so, it's just, there's never been a time in history like this. There's been situations similar, like nothing is truly new under the sun, but I just think with how history has responded in certain situations that we're in now, like if you look at, I was watching a video by, what's his name? It's Damon Cassidy. Awesome YouTube channel, awesome guy. But he in his previous video about how, you know, our generation is living in quiet luxury or poverty luxury. That's what it is, poverty luxury. He talked about how this generation's mindset on the future and on life and things like that is similar to the 60s during the Cold War, where that generation had a realistic understanding of at any moment there can be complete and total utter annihilation. And that caused them to move very irrationally with kind of no thought of the future, because there really could not be one. Like that was a entirely plausible possibility. And so, yeah, I just think this is an interesting moment in history, and I wanted to talk about it. In this current climate that we're in, economically, culturally, socially, internationally, it could be a little scary. I can imagine why, you know, there would be a group of people who are scared to be living in a time like this. And there's so many thoughts. Like I literally have another phone here just with notes. Like there's so many thoughts that are going through in my head. But we are living in trying times, right? Go figure. I think when it comes to the Bible and when it comes to the world, there's a certain wisdom, right, that we have to have as Christians. I think there's so many verses about a prudent man, a prudent wife. And being able to see and read the times, right? I think even Christ says himself, you're able to look, I'm going to butcher this verse, Ty, please put it on the screen. But you're able to look at the clouds and say, oh yeah, rain's coming. But you can't look at the time and the signs of the time and see what's coming. So with that being said, I know that was a very like weird, choppy intro, but all I can do is get to where I'm comfortable at, and that's in the scripture. So we're just going to open it up there. So I wanted to start with a couple questions that I posed for myself. I literally have so many notes right here. First, a lot of questions that I get asked, especially from my peers and from my contemporaries, are we in the end times? And my answer to that, and you can tell I'm really serious because I got the glasses on with the do-rag. But my answer to that is yes, we've been in the end times since Christ left the earth. If you really read the epistles of the apostles, like they talk about the end times and we're taking it to now, but they thought that was happening. They thought they might even see that stuff, right? Even Christ said to, he said it to one of the apostles, maybe it was Thomas. He said, surely you will see the Son of Man descending. Or no, it was the angels in Acts. When Christ left, the angel said, in the same way he left, you will see him return. So they really thought like this was going to happen in their generation. So we've been in the end times forever, which is why I'm so big on like oftentimes when you know I talk about the end times, the number one response I get is people saying, okay, every generation has said that they're in the end times. Like, and they use that as a reason to ignore it completely. Like, not just like take it with some like they completely ignore it. And then it's off to whatever they're doing. But something that we don't understand as Christians, I'm gonna lift the seat up a little bit. Something that we don't understand as Christians is and this is what I say. I kind of rhymed. Anyway, first, every generation has been closer to the end times than the previous generation. Let's just start there. Second, I am of the belief, personally, this is just, and I don't think this is astronomical. You live like it's the end times, and if it's not, great. I think it's an opportunity cost type thing, because if I'm right and you're wrong, that means I'm prepared for the end times and you're not, and you're cooked. But if I'm wrong and you're right, I just live life as I've been living with maybe a couple extra cases of water, right? So I think it's an opportunity cost thing, but I also think it's, when we look at what Christ talks about with the end times, and we look at every like doomsday scenario in the Bible, there weren't like these huge glaring signs. Even Christ says himself, people will be eating and drinking and giving in marriage just like they were in the days of Noah, all the way up until the doors of the ark closed. So I'm not saying be irrational. I'm not saying sell all your stock. I'm not saying act any differently than you necessarily would. What I'm saying is, or rather, act any differently than you should. What I'm saying is, move the way Christ wanted us to move, to be prepared about the end times, to be focused on him, but that includes all of the prophecies about him and that were coming after him, right? He tells us, if we see the abomination of desolation in the temple, run for the hills. He says, I pray that you don't run in the winter, and that you're not running while you're nursing a child, right? Like, there's a practicality of the Bible and of the things that are coming that Christ wants us to focus on just as much as we focus on loving our neighbor as ourselves, loving God with all our hearts. And just like we would not advise someone to, okay, love God with all your heart, but you don't got to worry about loving your neighbor as yourself. We would never advise somebody to do that, because they're one and the same, right? All of these commands from Christ should be held equally, except for the two greatest commands, right? And so while I'm not for constant doomsday preaching, I'm also extremely against, matter of fact, I would say I'm more against not talking about it at all. I'm more against that. And I'm even more against the balanced approach. I think we should heavily talk about this, because the way that, like, the greatest lie that the devil ever told was not necessarily that he didn't exist. We see that he exists in the world. It's really that it like doesn't matter, right? Christians have this crazy thought that like, oh, we don't have to focus on the enemy. Like, just focus on Christ. It's not that you don't focus on Christ, but Christ himself, when he teaches us to pray, prays about Satan. That if that's the model prayer, if that's the prayer that we say every day, then that means we would be praying about Satan every day. Like, he literally says, and protect us from the evil one. Like,
wait. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done. Hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive others of their trespasses against us. And lead us not.
So if it was just about focusing on Christ, then there would be no need to pray, lead us not into wickedness, protect us from the evil one. Just focus on Christ and you won't be led into wickedness. Yes, but there's an active focus. Like it's more than just focusing on Christ. It's actively focusing on not sinning and not going against him. Christ says himself in Luke 16:8, the children of this world are wiser altogether than the children of light. If we look at The Art of War by Sun Tzu, there's wisdom there because it's all about how to deal with your enemy. Know thy enemy. So anyway, I said all that and we're not even into the good stuff. So, yeah, like we need to know the end times just as much as we know the Beatitudes, just as much as I was able to recite the Lord's Prayer, just as fast as we're able to recite the fruit of the Spirit. We need to know the end time and what to look out for. Okay, cool. So, all in all, be prepared for the sky to fall, but also be prepared if it doesn't. Oh, last thought on this. And this is why it's crucial that we don't just take a middle ground on it, because there's a clear example of what happened to somebody who took a middle ground. First, obviously, don't be lukewarm, but that can be applied to a couple different things. So let's just talk about Lot's wife. Now, Lot's wife was not locked in. She was dependent on Lot. Like, Lot was her boy. Obviously, it's her man. But don't think because your dad is saved, your mom is saved, your sister's saved, your brother's saved. Don't think just because they're saved, you're going to get in on whatever they got going. Because Lot's wife was still connected to Sodom and Gomorrah. She was still worried about it. She was still worried about her daughters in it. She was still worried about the people in it, whatever. She was still connected to it, right? She was not ready to chop it off, right? She did not prepare like the sky was going to fall tomorrow, because why would it? Everybody said that the sky is going to fall. Every generation has said the sky is going to fall. The sky is not going to fall. Okay, fine. She built up stuff on earth and she wasn't ready to depart with it when the sky was falling. And so when she looked back, she suffered the consequences. Like, we can't be middle ground about this. Like, it's all in or it's all out, but don't think you can just make it going the wide path. Okay. So don't be Lot's wife. Even Christ says you got to be ready to leave loved ones, leave father, leave anyone who loves father, mother, right? So don't be Lot's wife. Okay, this is the good part. This is the part that it took all of 16 minutes for me to get to. Hopefully I get to edit this down. If we read Revelation 6, let's read it. Revelation 6, chapter 1, verse 1. Revelation 6:1. And I saw the Lamb, that's Christ, open one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, and one of the four beasts saying, come and see. And I saw and beheld a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Okay. This is the part that's not me. This is the part that I'm asleep, I wake up, I'm thinking, I'm putting pieces together, and I'm like, wait a second, Father, like, this is insane. So check this out. In all of human history, I'm going to try to do this in like a minute, 2 minutes, best. In all of human history, when someone conquered something, what did that usually entail? War, right? Lots of death, murder. They didn't just give their stuff over for free. It wasn't this happy conquering. Genghis Khan didn't just, hey, thanks, right? So a lot of that happened. But what we see with this specific seal, because the war, the killing, the murder, the death, all that doesn't come until later seals. The first seal is just a man on a white horse who went out to conquer and conquering. But there's not necessarily bloodshed yet. Let's read on, and then I'll come back to this point. Verse 3, and when he opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another, and there was given to him a great sword. So that's very important. That's very crucial, because what we see is that there was a conquering that took place, but it didn't necessarily have war and bloodshed. Like, think about any type of conquering all throughout history, right? The Roman Empire, the Mongols, the British Empire. All of their conquering was through a strong iron fist. But this conquering, it seems like it's not the conquering that we've seen in all of world history. It seems like it was a quiet conquering. It was a shaking of the hand behind closed doors. It was a I got you, you got me. It was a plan. It was something that we all wanted, right? I'll be honest, I think that quiet conquering is AI. That might sound crazy, whatever. Maybe some light bulbs went off, but I think that the quiet conquering, right? That conquering from the first seal is AI. Because if we look at our modern day, that is literally the one thing that every single nation, anybody with an internet connection, literally grabbed onto AI like that. It's integrated everywhere now. Like every major corporation, every major business, China, I'm sure Russia, of course, America, we're all using AI. It conquered us, right? And this was over I remember my freshman year of college. I don't even know, maybe it was just coming out my freshman year of college. I remember I didn't even use AI because I was like, nah, bro, like I don't even trust it. Now, it quietly conquered us. Now, if AI did that, that would imply that maybe Sam Altman is the guy on the horse, but I don't. That's where I'm not all for that. I just think that this AI, I definitely think that the AI is this quiet conquering, because it truly conquered us in peace. Because in the next seal, peace will be taken from the earth. Peace necessarily hasn't been taken from the entire earth yet, but AI has conquered for sure. What does that imply about the man on the horse? I don't know. That's for you to decide. Anyway. Yeah, and I think it's also interesting how we all just kind of accepted AI. Like, we was just like, it's here now. And when I watched the AI 2027 video, they talked about the different upgrades of AI and the different agents getting stronger and stronger and more knowledgeable and more powerful, and I think it was like agent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the reason that the video is called, or the article rather, is called AI 2027 is because they think by the year 2027 we're going to be at a very big crossroads that will change history as we see it. Yeah, I think AI just fits the bill of conqueror in every sense of the word. It just did it quiet. That's why I call it the quiet conquering. Anyway, it's like a sermon talking point. Oh my gosh. So now the second point is this. We look at inflation. Let's keep reading. Forgive me if this video is all over the place. It's just a lot of jumbled thoughts together that I had to just put down somewhere. So verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the beast say, come and see. And beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. So I just had some new thoughts coming, but that's so interesting. That's basically inflation. And when we look at inflation throughout the entire known human history throughout the world, every great empire was destroyed due to inflation. There was a point where Roman soldiers were being paid in pure gold. Then I think it was pure silver. Then it was like 95% silver, all the way to 5%. It got to a point where the Roman soldiers were like, no, just pay us in gold again. Pay us in wheat. Pay us in product. And it got too big. The empire got too big where they couldn't supply all their soldiers to take care of it. And that's how it fell. We look at the British Empire. Same thing happened there. There was another empire too. But every major world empire fell due to inflation. That's what that verse was. That's why I said a denarii is a day's work. A day of work for a loaf of bread. Don't hurt the wine. Don't hurt the oil. So people can drink. People can use that oil to cook or like, you know, lather up, I guess.
Hey, yo, what the?
When we see that already taking place with the American dollar, like the cost of living is skyrocketed. Housing has skyrocketed. 50-year mortgages. You can watch whatever your favorite financial YouTuber is before it's me, but that's a whole nother thing. And like we got 50-year mortgages coming. 50 years. It's insane. On top of that, we had the government shutdown, which it wasn't necessarily reinstated. It was really just kicked down the road. They said January 30th, right? I should put a clip in here, but I'm not. January 30th, we say that government shutdown might happen again. Just look it up. It's really simple. We also think that more money printing will happen. So that's even more devaluing of the American dollar. And like I said, you can find whatever your favorite financial YouTuber is. I'm not speaking out of my butt with this. I already got so much I'm trying to put in one video. I'm also majoring in finance at Georgia Tech. Anyway, and the thing is too, like there's nothing that states that these seals stop going. Like it's not like I feel like the way I used to picture it was the seal of the conqueror is opened. After the conqueror is done, then the second seal is open. After the second seal is done, then the third seal is open. After the third, but there's nothing in the Bible that states that these seals stop. For example, with the AIs progressively getting better, that's just more conquering that's happening. That can happen during war. That can happen during inflation. Inflation can keep going up. War can keep on going, right? It's not like these just stop. They're all kind of on top of each other and they're all kind of simultaneous. And then another point is Trump talks about how we're going to get $2,000. Every American citizen is going to get $2,000 stimulus check from the government due to the tariffs that he imposed. Now, I don't think the math checks out on that. No, I know the math doesn't check out on that. But I don't think it's so much as the math as much as it is the principle. What I'm hearing is universal basic income. Everybody's going to get a monthly stipend, a monthly check, kind of like what they did in COVID. They're doing it now, and it's just going to ramp up. And as AI continues to conquer, jobs continue to be lost. Now we're going to have a group of people, a society of people that are wholly paid by the government, right? So if you think political parties are bad now, imagine when people's livelihood is dependent on it, right? When it's a matter of we need to get paid more or less, like it's just crazy the ramifications of that. But yeah, it's gonna be a generation of people, and a lot of us get our hope, our sense of progression, our sense of meaning, our sense of value, our sense of purpose from working. So we're gonna have a generation of people who are no longer working, who are getting paid by the government. Political parties are gonna go through the roof, and we're gonna have people who feel like they have no purpose in life. So that means there's gonna be more. Of course, they left the one. There's going to be more indulgent, right? There's going to be more drinking and bad living to numb the people. There's going to be more focus on entertainment, right? On TV. There's going to be more segregation of political parties, right? Political parties are going to become people's lives because, in a sense, it is. Government will be God. Yeah, and then it'll be I think I've heard people say this in like a joking manner up until what happened to Charlie Kirk, and then I heard it in more of a not joking manner. But if political parties are fighting like they did in 1865, you know, it could be a domestic, even civil, even war. And then obviously I think AI has something to do with the mark of the beast. I think it's going to be a type of technology in order to implement that. So I just think all this is so interesting, and these are just pieces I'm putting together. Like I said, I could be completely wrong, and you would be right to think so, but I think it's interesting, and I think you can start putting things together. If you're really if you're listening with ears to hear, you can really start putting some things together and saying like, oh, this is crazy. And we have to understand, guys, like, it's like, yes, life will be completely normal all the way up until Christ returns. So the government is the people, the higher powers are going to do everything they can to make this craziness feel as normal as possible. I also think that people get it wrong how close it is, right? If you look at all the top people that talk about AI, the Sam Altmans, there was another guy that was into the internal processes of AI. He was talking on the Diary CEO podcast. But if you talk to anybody who has any knowledge or any insight in AI, they all say the same thing. They just have different time frames. It's AI is going to take over. It's going to be some serious moral ramification. We don't know if it's going to be in 10 years, in 20 years. We don't know if it's going to be in 50 years, right? I am of the opinion it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to make it out of the 2020s without something radical happening. Truly. I think 2030 and on are going to be, there truly will be no other time in history like it. That's just my opinion. But, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong in 2030, I'll be chilling. No, I don't think there'll be any time in history like the 2030s. And I'm telling you, I don't think we make it out of 2020s without something crazy happening. I'm not a prophet. I'm not even a pastor. I'm not none of that. This locker room talk. I'm on YouTube talking like it's just you and me. I'm literally talking to you as if you just my homeboy or my homegirl, and you called me up, said, Ty, what's going on? That's all it is. You can take it, you can leave it. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, life goes on. You got to pay your bills. You got to do that. But you need to focus on Christ. That is the most important part. And people say that, and I'm like, but how are we going to focus on Christ and all this is happening around us? Like, how? And my thing is this: if you focus on Christ, if you really read the word, not from this American Christian standpoint, but the way it was intended to be read. It's a Jewish book at the end of the day, or Hebrew book rather, at the end of the day. Because Jew is just Judah, like, and it's all of Israel. It's a Hebrew book, and we got to read it from that lens. We have to understand that, like I don't even believe in the rapture, because if you look at all the apostles, and like none of them believed in the rapture. Like, even in Acts, when Jesus revealed himself, they said, okay, are you now going to conquer? Like, are you now going to take over Rome, throw down Rome and whatever? It's like, no, like, there's so much. Okay, let's keep going. So let's just summarize this video in 3 points. Point number 1, I told you it's not just Song of Solomon. I can do this with any book of the Bible. Okay. Point. Anyway, it's crazy going from Song of Solomon and relationships to, yeah, this is the end times. Okay, I already said that. Prediction, I don't think we're gonna make it out of 2020s without something crazy happening, a big shakeup. That's very broad, I understand. Go figure. Just be on the lookout for it. Oh, I already said that. I don't believe in the rapture. Yeah, and I think the main verse for the rapture is questionable at best. Like, at best, it's questionable. But I don't really know if that's what Paul necessarily meant in 2 Thessalonians. Okay, so this is my final point. This is the point that was like, okay, like, I clearly, like, he wants me to make a video about this. I don't know where this is going to go, but whatever. This is the final nail in the coffin to make this video. Again, I mentioned earlier how everybody who's big in AI kind of says the same thing. Really look into the creators and the owners of AI and these big tech companies. And when you really take the time to read and study the Bible, you realize that I'm gonna leave it there. But just look into these big tech company owners. We have if we just need to read the Bible a little bit slower and things will start clicking. But when we go to church for emotional experiences and to hold our hands up for 8 hours and singing praises, which there's nothing wrong with that. That is good. But I'm a firm believer, and I always has been, the church is for Christians. Church is not to convert non-believers to believers. It's not what church is for. That's what church has become for the past, dude, it might as well be from all time. Like, literally, like, now all time is crazy. Maybe for sure 20th century, right? For sure. Church is for the believers. It is not for non-believers. Non-believers are not going to like church no matter what you do to them. There's not, you can have a concert. A non-believer is not going to care. He doesn't want to be in that environment. But when we tailor the message to the believers, we grow as a body. But sadly, the believers have suffered on account of the non-believers. And we got to read our Bibles more slowly, because when you go back, go read that Genesis verse. Genesis, it's chapter 3. Go read it and you'll see Satan's seed, Eve's seed. But yeah, look into that, cross-reference it with the Bible, really take the time to see who these people are. People always like to talk about the Antichrist, but not enough people talk about the false prophet. Sydney actually helped me with this, because she brought up how we were talking about the Antichrist and if he's been revealed or whatever. But she said, well, what about the false prophet? Because, the devil wants to do everything that Christ did, right? So John the Baptist made the way for Christ, so the false prophet will make the way for the Antichrist. And so it'll probably be the false prophet that shows up. And, I saw an article on the top. This actually was like the nail in the coffin. Ding. I saw an article on the top 100 most influential people in AI. And of course, it was all the regulars, the Sam Altmans, the guy from NVIDIA, Elon Musk, right? All the regulars. But then it said the Pope. Like, from Chicago? Unless he's writing his sermons. See, this is how you know I'm not Catholic. I don't even know if Catholic priests give sermons. There's no way they don't, right? I have no idea. But unless the Pope is using AI or ChatGPT to write his sermons, how is the Pope one of the most influential people in AI? It's cooked, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's like, maybe if he was the most influential in moral theology, philosophy, I could even say, it don't even have to be Christian. It can just be something that makes sense for a pastor. But unless he got a AI degree, how is, bro? It was literally yesterday I saw it. I said, okay, I'm filming this video today. Okay, easy. I'm done. That's all my notes. I know those were kind of scattered. I know those kind of everywhere. You're gonna maybe the video will be a puzzle piece. Maybe you'll have to put the video together yourself. But but I appreciate you listening anyway. I hope that I opened your eyes. I hope that I caused you to see something maybe you didn't see, or I caused you to think I'm completely crazy and Ty, this is it, this is the last video I'm watching. Then great, let me know in the comments. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next video. And if this is the last video before 2026, then Happy New Year. I hope you had an excellent year, and I cannot wait to see you in the new one. I'll see you later.